Hi, it's your $2 Tuesday movie critic here, and today I'll be reviewing the movie Hercules. Now, this is the latest installment of Hercules starring Dwayne Johnson. There have been a few, and I'm not just talking about the ones that came out this month or this year. There have been quite a few Hercules movies, over a dozen. But we're just talking about the one. The movie itself was great. Full disclosure, I am a huge Dwayne Johnson fan. I have been watching his movies since he was known as The Rock, and before that I was watching WrestleMania when he was on there too. So yeah, I've been watching him since he was with the Wrestling Federation. I also want to give the full disclosure that I used to be, especially when I was a teenager, a big fan of Greek mythology. And I kind of looked at Roman mythology too. And Hercules is a part of both. Usually, Roman and Greek mythology are very similar to each other, but the names are different. And sometimes the stories can be a bit different too. And dealing with this movie, it's more looked at from the Roman mythology of Hercules, where it talks about the 12 labors of Hercules. That's where the movie starts. And I don't want to give too much of it because I think that's a trend now this year, at least what I've been seeing. What you see in the theater as far as the previews is not exactly what you're getting in the movies. But the big difference with Hercules in this movie is I got more than I bargained for. This movie was excellent. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Dwayne Johnson fan or because I'm a mythology fan, Roman or Greek. It's because it was a really great movie. I mean, if you want action, if you want even a little bit of drama, this is what you're getting with this movie. And it takes on a whole new twist of the Hercules story. I don't want to give it away, and I won't give it away, so don't worry about that. So I'm not going to say too much. It has Hercules starting out, as an older man, and he is a mercenary, or a sword for hire, as they used to call him. And he has a group that he's with that is by his side throughout his adventures. And that's all I'm going to say about that, because saying too much more would be giving too much away. And I don't want to spoil this movie for anyone. I want you to see it for yourself. I guarantee you will love it. And if you don't, well then, you should not be watching action movies. Let's just say that. Okay. Yeah, there are some cliche parts to it, like with any action movie. There is a bit of gratuitous violence, but not too much. There are parents. There are a bit of times where there are curse words. The S word is said a few times. I could probably count it on one hand how many times it's said, and it's usually said under the breath. Now the F word is said once in the whole movie, and it is not said under the breath. And it's within context of the movie, so I'll give it. I just have really not heard that word in a medieval type movie, but it was there. So, just so you know. Other than that, there's no nudity. There is a lot of violence. There is a lot of bloodshed. You do see it. It's not really gross, but there is a lot of fighting with animals and things. So that part I didn't necessarily care for, but the animals didn't really, with the exception of the lion, the animals didn't really look like animals. And there's an added bonus to this movie. There's a bit of a mystery. That's where the twist comes in. You look at Hercules and you're wondering, is he a myth or is he a man? And that's the question that's asked throughout the whole movie. And you'll get to see that. And that's all I'm giving away there too. But it's a great movie. Loved it. You should go see it. I recommend it to anyone. When it comes out on DVD, will be buying it. So, and I plan on showing it to anybody that wants to watch it. I loved it. Now, the two old school movies that I'm comparing to this movie are I wanted to go back and look at the original Hercules movies because there have been so many, and I have only watched one, and that was the Lou Ferrigno version of Hercules that I watched many moons ago. And I don't even remember it, honestly. So what I wanted to do was go back and look at the original Hercules movie that starred also a bodybuilder at the time. His name was Steve Reeves. I've never heard of him, but based on what I read about the movie and about him, he was a very famous person back in his day because he was a famous bodybuilder. And if you see the movie, he looks like magnificent. And this was back in the day when you didn't do all kinds of things and take all kinds of pills and pop steroids and things like that. If you were muscular, it was because you worked for it. And that's nothing against Dwayne Johnson, because I honestly believe that's all natural, too. The guy that plays Hercules, like I said, in the movie, this came out back in 1958. And Steve Reeves was a bodybuilder back then. And he, like I said, he looks magnificent. And, but the thing about him is it really only talks about Hercules, you know, son of Jupiter. They go say Jupiter, which was the Roman name for Zeus, which is the Greek name for, you know, the god, the god that is the father of them all. He mentions him Hercules himself, and some of the people that they mention him a couple of times, and they even talk about the strength of Hercules, you know, and they challenge that strength a couple of times. But other than that, it doesn't really go too much into the myth of Hercules. It mainly, Hercules is there to mainly help the kingdom, you know, kind of like in the movie version with Dwayne Johnson, Hercules, Steve Reeves, is going to, at the request of the king. And he comes to the town because he's supposed to be helping the king's son learn to fight. And I won't give you too much for that, just in case you want to watch it. I will tell you, this movie was made in 1958. And it looks like it was made in 1958. It's an action movie, but it's an action movie, a 1958 action movie, meaning that all the fight scenes, for the most part, especially with the animals and there's one with I guess it's supposed to be a dinosaur. I don't know what that thing is supposed to be, but the fight scenes there with the dinosaur, the lion, and the bull, they all look very, very fake. They do their best. I mean, this was 1958, so they didn't have a lot of special effects and computerized type machines and things to work with back then. So I give it to them for trying, but yeah, you could tell it's pretty bad. But there is the fight scene at the end of this 1958 version of Hercules that is similar, very similar in fact, to the final fight that's in the Hercules movie of Dwayne Johnson, the current one. And I don't know if that was intentional or not, but they're very, very similar. And I like that. I thought that was pretty cool if they were actually trying to give homage to the original. And if not, well, it's a happy coincidence. So the movie itself, for me, was pretty boring. And it's probably because, like I said, it was in 1958. But I love old movies. So it wasn't necessarily because it was an old movie. It was because it was just a boring movie. And they did their best with it, like I said, especially with the action and stuff, but it wasn't that great. You can watch it on YouTube for free. That's how I got it. You can also buy it on Amazon if you like. But it is, if you're looking for some action and stuff like that, yeah, it's pretty cheesy, except for that final fight scene, which lasts about 5-10 minutes at the end of the movie. Yeah, but if you just watch it, I suggest you just go ahead and watch it on YouTube and see it for yourself. Because I just wanted to compare the original Hercules movie with the most current Hercules movie. And, of course, the two are totally different for the most part, with the exception of the main character. And, like I said, that final fight scene that looked very, very similar. Other than that, you know, they had really nothing there was nothing the same about them. The movie that Dwayne Johnson does, it asks that question, who is Hercules? The myth or a man, or both. And in the movie version that Steve Reeves does, it actually talks about, it gives into that, the myth of Hercules. And he pretty much says, yes, I am Hercules. There's nothing, nothing more to it. I am the strongest man on earth. I am a demigod. Yeah, but he's not a jerk. He actually befriends a couple of guys and tries to help them in the mystery that happens, because that's the reason that Hercules is there. He goes there for one purpose, but finds himself in the midst of a mystery that is causing great strain in the kingdom. And so he helps out not only an old friend, but also helps out the person that needs the most help in the situation. So there comes the mystery. So I guess that is similar too, because there is a bit of a mystery in Hercules, Dwayne Johnson's version, but it's two totally different mysteries. So, like I said, watch it on YouTube. It's not even an hour and a half long. So it's just to, for nostalgia's sake, just to say you watched the original Hercules, go right ahead. Alright, so the other old school movie that I wanted to compare this to was A Knight's Tale. And this was starring the late Heath Ledger, and this came out back in 2001. Now, the reason I wanted to compare the two is because A Knight's Tale also takes a twist on the medieval movies that were made around that time. And it just does some new things with it, which were pretty cool. First off, it starts with Heath Ledger, who plays the William Thatcher, a peasant boy, who is actually the employee of an actual nobleman. And the nobleman ends up getting into a fight with the jousting and dying. And, instead of the guys, going on their way, because he's there with his two friends, they decide that they're going to go let William fight in his master's place in the jousting. And of course, William says for his whole life he's been waiting to do this. So this is his opportunity. And he takes it, and thankfully it goes in his favor. And he ends up trying to, continue on with this, even though his friends are like, no, just give me my money, let me get out of here. He's like, this is a dream of mine. This is something I want to do. We can have riches beyond riches. We can have fame beyond fame. And in that, they decide to do it, and on their trip, they meet a herald/writer who is also a very, very bad gambler. What we call nowadays the hype man. And that's another comparison or another similarity to the Hercules movie with Dwayne Johnson. Hercules' nephew is a storyteller who is also like the hype man that comes before Hercules to tell these stories of his myth. Just like the herald does for William Thatcher. Unlike, he just makes stuff up as he goes, because of course we know none of it is true, because William Thatcher is not a real nobleman. But he has to prove he is, and the writer does this in the most heralded fashion, and again, what we call the hype man, and he really, really gets the audience to love him and cheer for him. And also, the twist with A Knight's Tale is the fact that they're adding in current rock music that I don't think that was ever done before in a medieval type movie. And it's not only just in the background, they put it on the forefront as there are people playing this music, and you see the trumpeters and you see the guys pounding on the wood for the sounds, for the drum beat for We Will Rock You, and it is so cool. And they're actually singing the song, We Will Rock You. Very, very cool. I like that. That's actually my most favorite part of the movie. And I did like the movie too. I mean, I'm not a big fan of medieval type movies. I actually like to go to the Renaissance fairs and immerse myself in it. But that's just between me and you. It was great fun. I ended up buying it on VHS, as you can see. And unlike the two Hercules movies, A Knight's Tale has more of a comedic / action turn in it, whereas both of the Hercules movies are more drama, or I should say action / drama. There's not a lot of comic relief. There is a bit. Don't get me wrong. There is a bit in the Hercules movie, the 2014 version, wherein with the Hercules 1958 version, there is not much comedy or even comic relief, so to speak. I think maybe 1 or 2 times. So, but I suggest you see all movies. You can, of course, buy A Knight's Tale. They probably have it on DVD by now, and you can get it, you know, on Amazon as well. It's a really good movie too. If you like the medieval type jousting and swords play and stuff like that, I like to watch it, I should say, you'll enjoy this movie. And it is a really very cool movie to watch. So those are my that is my review. Let me start that over. I hate when that happens. Okay, so that is my review for today. I hope you like it. If there are any other movies that you think better compared to Hercules 2014, go ahead and write it down at the bottom of the screen. And I thank you for watching. Have a great day.